Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be heading to the Motor City to talk about the Detroit Tigers. They had a great year last year, at least the best year they've had in about 10 years, because they went 86-76, good for third in the AL Central, and made it to the playoffs where they swept the Houston Cheaters 2-0 in the divisional round. Unfortunately, they ran into the buzzsaw of the Kansas City Royals in the second round and could not overcome that. However, they did great, making it to the playoffs for the first time since 2014, where they had a 4-year streak from 11 to 14, making it as far as the World Series, where they lost, or a first-round defeat in the divisional series. But again, they won one round this year. I'm thinking they're going to be doing even better for years to come, but again, they were doing well then and got rid of all their pitchers, and all went downhill from there. But in any case, we all know most of their success came from Tarik Skubal. But they do have some hitters on this team that make some things happen. Before we get to specific players, let's talk about the team leaders. The only names you need to know: Zach McKinstry led the team in stolen bases. Matt Vierling led the team in at-bats and doubles. Riley Green led the team in everything else. He's a superstar in the making. The crazy part is he was coming off an ankle injury from last year, limiting him this year, especially on the base pass. But he got the work done, huh? I know I just said there was only 3 names we need to know, at least for the team leaders. There's another name that crept in there. I kept seeing 9 different categories had him ranked between 2nd and 5th on the team. Colt Keith. This guy generated a lot of buzz last year because of his contract. Biggest contract the Tigers ever given out to a rookie. 6 years. Limited, if any, play at the major league level. But hey, they wanted the guy, and it absolutely paid off. So those categories include runs, hits, RBIs, and triples. He tied with Riley Green for the most triples on the team. So he's got some speed, but he's also got a little bit of pop in his bat. Speaking of pop in their bat, there were 3 guys that had at least 100 hits, and the next closest was outfielder Winfield Perez. Now, his numbers may not look sexy, but he has absolutely shown growth. Even though we emphasize he fell short of 100 hits, he only played in 112 games. So in 389 at-bats, he contributed 94 hits along with 9 home runs and 37 RBIs. He also added 32 walks to add to that, so he was getting on base, not the highest clip, but when you were adding 120 times to get on base in 112 games, you're doing something right. While there still needs to be development at the plate, he has absolutely done what he needs to in the field, as he only committed 2 errors in right field last year. As we move on from a potential 2025 darling, I want to go back and talk about a 2023 darling. Kerry Carpenter was the apple of my eye. He came on strong, was hitting home runs, getting RBIs, getting on base left and right for the Tigers, and then he got hurt. The IL stint that kept him out in 2004 wasn't as long as the ones from 22 and 23. However, that marks the 3rd year in a row he has had an extended IL stint. Obviously, going to hope to get away from that in 2025. However, despite only playing in 87 games, he was 2nd on the team in home runs. And then he was 3rd on the team in RBIs with 57. So if he's on the field, he's producing. Keep in mind, those home runs and the RBIs came in only 287 at-bats. So if he is available, that is someone you want to look at. Now, make sure you have a backup. Maybe a backup. But Kerry Carpenter is the real deal. He's got some power. Now, I'm excited to see him play this year. Definitely going to be looking to get him on fantasy teams and hoping that he can get back to that magical 2023 year when he wasn't hurt. Speaking of youngsters, there are 3 guys in particular that the Tigers really want to stay up at the major league level. They're going to be competing for starting spots, and if worse comes worse, they're going to be in a platoon. Catcher Dylan Dingler, shortstop Trey Sweeney, and Jace Jung, who's going to play at 3rd, and now with Matt Vierling going to be out for a period of time, he could very well absolutely just take it over and not look back. He is the younger brother of Josh Jung for the Rangers. That's why I said in the Rangers video, Jace was nipping at his heels. I also thought he played 2nd. I think he may have played 2nd, but then moved to 3rd. But in any case, Trey Sweeney is going to want to play shortstop. However, this guy named Javi Baez is definitely going to try to stop him. Now, if he swings anything like he did the last 5 years, Trey Sweeney, you could literally swing at air, like not even a ball coming, just air, and do better than Javi. Dylan Dingler absolutely going to be in the platoon with Jake Rogers. If Jake Rogers does not step up offensively, Dingler could get more at bats, but for right now, we are for sure going to have a platoon. unless something crazy happens. Now, as we move to pitching, we all know Tariq Skubal is one of, if not the best in the game. However, there are some other pitchers on this Tigers team that also make you want to stop and say, whoa, who's that guy? They also have a World Series champion on their team. We're going to get to him first. Jack Flaherty was on the team to start last year, went to the Dodgers, won a ring against my Yankees, so that kind of stinks. But he was there for 18 starts, had 11 quality starts, 7 wins, 86 innings pitched, and 133 strikeouts. That is the type of presence that is needed, necessary, and required behind a front of Major League Baseball type starter in Tariq Skubal. The other quality pitcher for this Tigers team is Reese Olson. Now, last year, he only had 112 innings pitched, but that was second on the team, tied with Kenta Maeda with 112. Again, not the company you want to be in, but Reese Olson fared so much better than Kenta Maeda, getting up like half the earned runs he did. Thing about Olson, in 22 starts, he had 9 quality starts, so that's great. He had a really good-looking ERA, I think like 3.5. The whip was like 1.17. He had such terrible luck. He was only able to win 4 games. Now, winning games as a starting pitcher is an overrated metric because now you have so many guys who are going to be on innings limits. Then you're going to have the bullpen guys come in. Then you have spot starters. And then you have the long relievers. So it's a tired type of metric category in fantasy, but it is what it is. That's what gets people paid, right? Something that's not going to get you paid is having a 4.5 ERA and a 1.5 whip. That's Casey Mize. He's absolutely going to have to step up his game from last year if he wants to stay in the rotation. It's not the sexiest looking rotation, especially after you get from Reese Olson. I'm also interested in potentially Matt Manning. He had a great looking 2022 and 2023 with a mid-3 ERA and a 1.1 whip. But were those all mirages? Because he come back in 2024 and forgot how to pitch. He is likely going to be one of the next guys up if there is an issue with some starters like Alex Cobb. But Kenta Maeda is projected to be the next starter. Don't know if that's the person you want. I know I talked about wanting to draft him last year because I thought he was a secret weapon. I was very wrong on that. But if Matt Manning wants to get out of Toledo and into Detroit, he's going to have to step up. He's going to have to do better than the 5 ERA and the 2 whip. Transitioning from the starting rotation to the bullpen, I think they have a pretty strong bullpen. They've added a few pieces. They got rid of a few pieces, and that's probably for the best. But with Jason Foley at the closer position, I don't feel super confident. He just collapsed down the stretch. He looked good early on, but definitely had some falters here and there. I really don't think he's the best closer on the team, but that is not my job to say. I know I'm going to have pieces of this bullpen, but it's not going to be Jason Foley. I'm going to have Bo Brisk, potentially Tyler Holton, Will Vest. You know, some of those guys. They added a few others we're going to talk about in just a second, but they have a decent bridge to get to Jason Foley. Now, I know you only have to use it like 2 or 3 times for the pitchers because you're not worrying about Flaherty, you're not worrying about Tariq Skubal. But, you know, for the other guys, get them up, get them warming up. Let's make sure we get this close out and win. As we get to the additions, we have talked about a few of them. Jack Flaherty and Alex Cobb, new-ish to the Tigers. Cobb was with the team, then got hurt. Now he's on the IL. Flaherty, of course, with the team, left, got a World Series championship ring. Now he's back. They also added to their bullpen John Brebbia, who was formerly with the White Sox. What an upgrade within the division he got. And then Tommy Canley. Really thought he was going to do better with the Yankees. He didn't. We're going to move on. The final guy that we're going to talk about is also a former Yankee, Gleyber Torres. I don't really have thoughts on this guy as far as a Yankees fan. I think he did decent. He did not live up to expectations. I think that he will do much better now in Detroit because there's not as much pressure on him. And some of his main competitions will be Javi Baez. Not too worried about that. Some of the losses they had, though. We're going to go ahead and say Alex Cobb is a loss because he's hurt and who knows when he's going to be back. They also lost Mark Canha. I like him. He was speedy, fast, but he looks like he has a big old head on his Yahoo and ESPN picture. Now, if there's a reason for that, I feel terrible. But take a look. When you look at fantasy, look at his head. There are 2 pieces lost from the bullpen. Again, I think it makes it better. Shelby Miller and Alex Lang. Alex Lang is just out for the year already. He had Tommy John surgery, and Shelby Miller is now back with the Diamondbacks. It's funny because he was actually part of the Dansby Swanson trade from the Diamondbacks to the Braves. So that worked out well, decently well for both teams. Speaking of working out for your team, I think the Royals are very happy with how it's working out with Bobby Witt Jr. That's where we're going to be heading tomorrow. Kansas City, Missouri, to talk about the Royals, who were second in the AL Central with the same record. But we're going to be talking about how some of these guys were very shocking and how a resurgence late in the career really made this playoff push possible. This is Jake Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.